Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Share Talk, where I'm speaking to Keith Allaun, who's CEO at PowerHouse Energy. How are you today, Keith?
Hey there, Zach. Good to talk to you.
Okay, for quite a while, PowerHouse Energy has been promising a water into wine moment, the water being waste plastics and old tyres, and the wine being hydrogen. Today you announced that you connected to the microgrid. Has the moment come now?
Yeah. Thanks for putting it that way. You know, it truly is a relatively miraculous process. The fact that we are able to convert something that heretofore was a waste product, heretofore was something that was destined to landfill, or at best to an incinerator, where a tiny fraction of its energy value was captured and converted into electricity. And what we've done is we have demonstrated our ability to convert end of waste plastics, end of waste tires, or end of life tires, end of life plastics into a highly sustainable, highly beneficial energy. So we had demonstrated earlier this year that the gas that we produce can be separated into a stream of gas that produces electricity and one that is road fuel quality hydrogen. And so what this latest announcement that we released this morning regarding connection to the Thornton Science Park or the Enrgy Center's microgrid finally really puts I think a bookend on the first stage of our efforts over the past number of years. When we started, Zach, developing this technology from scratch, we recognized that it was going to work if we could just pull a few of the advances in technology together. If we could just pull the complex systems that had existed previously, if we could simplify those and put those together and manage them in a way that could produce this ultra high quality gas that then can be converted into electricity, and subsequently further exploited as a source of pure hydrogen. Effectively, what we're able to do is squeeze the juice out of any end-of-life plastics and tires and extract the hydrogen from those things. I mean, it is a water into wine moment.
Do you think that after like a 7-year journey, something like that, people finally understand that or think that today is the day when the crying wolf era is over, and this is actually the hydrogen has gone into this microgrid, it's gone into the it could go into the real grid, I suppose, the national grid as well. You've actually done it.
Yeah, well, my answer to that, of course, is that absolutely there's no more crying wolf. We've proved that this process works. We had demonstrated our ability to generate electricity with our gas some weeks ago, perhaps a couple of months ago, but we had not fully connected to the Science Park's microgrid, which is a really a relatively major feat. I mean, it sounds simple enough, but the fact is now we've connected to a commercial entity and can start delivering. We can start delivering electricity that can be used by the university, that can be used by the tenants there. That's not simply. It's not just a science project. It's not just R&D. It's not just demonstrating anymore. It's actually shown that there is a legitimate and useful purpose in a way that's economical, in a way that's environmentally sustainable, and in a way that has not been done before. on a
Let me
small
put this another
modular
way.
scale.
Let me put this another way. People could theoretically go up to your science park now with a truck with truckloads of old tires and old plastic, and you could take that off their hands and turn it into hydrogen. You could actually do that now. You could actually probably make money. It'd be like a bring and buy sale.
Well, yeah, there's a bit more complexity to it than that, but yes, effectively and theoretically, one can do that. That's what the process demonstrator was developed for, so that we could absolutely create a pure synthesis gas or clean synthesis gas that allowed us to convert that into electricity. I do want to clarify. You had mentioned earlier that we had injected hydrogen into the microgrid there. We hadn't injected hydrogen. We've used all of the gas to generate electricity, and then we subsequently connected to the microgrid with our gen set. And so
The energy sourced from hydrogen, in other words.
I'm sorry?
The energy was sourced from hydrogen, in other words.
It was sourced from a combination of hydrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide, which are the constituents of synthesis gas, and that's what our process makes a synthesis gas. But it makes a synthesis gas that is clean enough to extract the hydrogen from into a 99.999% pure stream of hydrogen. So we can effectively extract 50% of that gas stream into a stream of hydrogen. The other 50% of the gas stream would be focused on electrical generation, and then we would be producing electricity for our own use internally and selling that electricity onto the grid. The hydrogen component of it is something that we tune in the process. We tune that by virtue of both the oxidant and the feedstocks that we put into it, but not getting too deeply into the science. The cool thing is, you talked about turning water into wine. This is just physics, and there really isn't a miracle behind this. The miracle is that it is just physics, and we've cracked the code of putting the right parts together in the right order, working in the right temperature envelopes with the right oxidant to deliver an outcome that is going to be, in our opinion, transformative.
Okay, obviously, this is one step. You're a public company on the stock market. The commercial aspects are obviously, at the front of people's minds. What are your next steps in terms of that?
So we've been working over the last 15 months as we have been focused on collecting data from the process demonstrator to incorporate into our commercial model. So commercial design engineering has been ongoing now for the past, I want to say 8 months, and we're within weeks of completing that process. So we will have, for the first time, the fully formed commercial enterprise model that we're ready to begin manufacturing and construction on. And so the next steps in the process are finalizing the permitting and planning process, beginning procurement, and then focusing on the civils for our first commercial site, and then getting the site up and running. So that's kind of those are the steps that we're going to be taking over the next 6 to 8 months, and we're confident that we're going to be driving forward very aggressively, as we have been, to see this be an absolutely successful and, again, transformative component of this whole ecosystem that's dealing with things like waste plastics and end of life tires and difficult to deal with components of the waste stream that heretofore have been sent off to landfill or have been sent off to incinerators.
Right, and so you're both the things that you are, the waste processing and the hydrogen producing aspects. Those are now to be addressed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you cannot create hydrogen from incineration, right? You're not going to extract the gas out of incineration that allows you to displace a fossil fuel. What you can do with our process is, with an extremely low CO2 footprint, extract the hydrogen component of plastics and end-of-life tires, or any long-chain hydrocarbons, anything that used to be oil or is a high calorific value component of the waste stream. We can extract the hydrogen from those waste streams and then displace fossil fuels. And by displacing fossil fuels, you're looking at, for every ton of hydrogen that we produce, you're displacing 21,000 kilos of carbon dioxide. So you're
also helping you're saving the environment as well.
Well, of course. I mean, the objective here is to save the world profitably, and the thing is, for us to be able to do what we need to do, we obviously have to be able to operate on a commercial basis. Well, hydrogen is a rapidly growing market. Distributed electricity is there's rapidly growing demand around private wire electrical sales, and people are looking at controlling their own industry, is looking at controlling its own destiny, and not being and effectively using the national grid as a backup source of power supply as opposed to their principal source of supply. And so, and as companies start looking at the circular economy and how they can engage in social consciousness, and the fact is that major boards of major multinational companies are now looking at their contract with society and what they're trying to accomplish as a company, and what they're doing to ensure that they're engaging in a circular economy.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.